What does that have to do with
What the They still having a problem from the last story, right? Where the fuck you got that from? Like Shinobi?
Shinobi.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's actually a sword.
yeah, I know, but yeah, it was the Shinobi was the video game back in the days.
Yeah, I remember that.
When they would pull his sword out.
Yeah, but that's not where it's from.
Oh, okay, yeah. But it was a sword. Are you from Shaolin? Sword?
Yeah, it's Shaolin Allen.
Yeah, it's a sword.
Okay.
Obviously, the Lummox don't like me describing a woman's box as hot halibut, but I mean, I'm just trying to figure out why he would want to leave such a wonderful position if there wasn't issues going on there. So it's just a guess. It's just a guess.
She could have farted. Who knows? Are we done now? Yes? Good. Okay. Hi, everyone. Insanity check here. Ken, skillet sauce, and I guess now 8.
That's the story?
Yeah, that's the story. The full title is Shut the Fuck Up.
Yeah, okay.
Critic of immigration proposal cited lower IQ of immigrants in dissertation. Translation, this guy wants to keep out Latino and Hispanic immigrants from the country because he thinks they're too stupid to be here.
That's racist.
Is it?
I think so.
Well, I guess we'll find out shortly.
And no, go ahead, because I find that ridiculous. This country, you know how bad you would have to.
That's what I'm saying. There's two major things wrong with this. But let me just tell you what this guy says.
Yeah.
Okay, so Jason Richwine, who joined the Heritage Foundation in 2012 as a senior policy analyst after receiving his doctorate in public policy from Harvard University in 2009, focused his dissertation, IQ and Immigration Policy, on his view that the lower intelligence of immigrants should be considered when drafting immigration policy. According to Richwine, the statistical construct known as IQ can reliably estimate general mental ability or intelligence. The average IQ of immigrants in the United States is substantially lower than that of the white native population. Woo! And the differences is likely to persist over several generations. So, you stupid, you're going to remain stupid. The consequences are a lack of socioeconomic assimilation among low IQ immigrant groups, more underclass behavior, less social trust, and an increase in the proportion of unskilled workers in the American labor market. Selecting high IQ immigrants would ameliorate these problems in the U.S. while at the same time benefiting smart potential immigrants who lack educational access in their home countries.
There's a lot wrong with this, man. There's a lot wrong with this.
Immigrants living in the U.S. today do not have the same level of cognitive ability as the natives. So,
read the next line too, man. You've got to read this next line.
Oh, yeah, no one knows whether his...
No. He concludes...
Oh, that the section of...
The section with the belief that Hispanics are not likely to catch up to their non-Hispanic counterparts.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying.
No one knows whether Hispanics will ever reach IQ parity with whites.
Ever.
But the prediction that new Hispanic immigrants... You know what? They should cut this motherfucker.
No, see, this is the problem here is, okay.
In America,
That's number one.
That's my number one thing.
We are...
one of the dumbest nations. Yo, listen.
Actually, you know what I'm going to do? And
this country is ridiculous.
I'm sorry, the live viewers, whoever you may be, but right now you're going to see a clip from Bill Maher's show. And he's going to explain to you just how stupid Americans are. It's unbelievable. I watched this on YouTube a couple of weeks ago. I've actually just like the third time watching it because it's mind-boggling how stupid this country is. But supposedly, Latinos will never get to this level of stupidity.
Which is, come on.
Listen to some of these statistics. A majority of Americans cannot name a single branch of government or explain what the Bill of Rights is. 24% could not name the country America fought in the Revolutionary War. More than 2/3 of Americans don't know what's in Roe versus Wade. 2/3 don't know what the Food and Drug Administration does. Some of this stuff you should be able to pick up simply by being alive. You know the way the Slumdog Kid knew about cricket? But not here. Nearly half of Americans don't know that states have 2 senators. And more than half can't name their congressman. And among Republican governors, only 3 got their wife's name right on the first try. Those are big too far. People bitch and moan about taxes and spending. They have no idea what their government spends money on. The average voter thinks foreign aid consumes 24% of our federal budget. It's actually less than 1%. A third of Republicans believe Obama is not a citizen. And a third of Democrats believe that George Bush had prior knowledge of the 9/11 attacks, which is an absurd sentence because it contains the words Bush and knowledge. Sleep tight, fat shit. Sarah Palin says she would never apologize for America, even though a Gallup poll says 18% of us think the sun revolves around the earth. No, they're not stupid. They're interplanetary mavericks. And I haven't even brought up religion. But here's one fun fact I'll leave you with. Did you know only about half of Americans are aware that Judaism is an older religion than Christianity? That's right. Half of America looks at books called the Old Testament and the New Testament and cannot figure out which one came first. I rest my case.
Okay. That's number one. We're one of the dumbest countries in the world. Okay?
We worship Honey Boo Boo. Honey. I thought Honey Boo Boo was a new fucking cereal. I did not know at all that it was some trailer park disgusting family and some fucking kid. I didn't know what Honey Boo Boo was because I steer away from that brain-devouring trash. Okay, this is a place that worships the most ignorant, ridiculous archetypes ever. Mathematics, what's that? I've had people actually tell me, you read. Yeah, I read. You mean books? You mean like those things with words in them? I'm like, yeah, motherfucker. And it literally, I kid you not, the motherfucker was like, you mean those
books?
Books? You mean those things with words in them? I swear to you, this is what someone told me. I was like, yes, I read, motherfucker. I read. Okay? For someone to say something like that, I mean, that's really, basically they're just saying that Hispanics are sloths. That they're like they're literally like those fucking bog monsters on fucking Scooby-Doo that can only moan and shit, because see, how stupid must you be to not be able to be here?
Right. Number one.
And they're not that stupid, man, because they stack the shelves in those fucking Korean groceries like nobody's business. Them shits is all
racist.
That's bad. I'm sorry. I'm just joking.
First of all, Mr. Rich Ryan, you white people are not natives of this country. That's something that you need to understand right away.
Oh no, they housed this place, man. So of course,
that's called a hijacker.
Yeah,
you
that's real funny.
hijacked this country. You are not a native, nor is any of your ancestors. Secondly, what about the Irish? The Irish were what, right next to niggers back in the old days?
Oh yeah. Yeah. As a matter of fact, at one point they was below them. At one point in our history, they were actually below the so-called emancipated blacks at that particular time. The Irish was actually on certain scales below them.
But I believe you would classify them as a white native, but somehow they elevated themselves.
And it also, because this, to me, this sounds like, does this individual believe that if you had, a certain amount of Latinos or Hispanics, whatever, and you gave them the same education afford it to, some of the upper class whites or whatever the hell, the best of education, the best of everything that they just could not understand and comprehend because of some sort of disability.
That's
They
what these.
feel that way about African
Well, that's
Americans.
what I was about to say.
I know,
That was
exactly.
what they thought about the blacks.
Exactly, but when we realize, wait a second, it's not a level playing field. I mean, the fucking book that we're looking in is full of shit and falling apart and ratted and tattered and all this stuff. And at one point, it was even illegal for us to be able to read. You understand? We couldn't read without getting lynched and shit like that. So what were you afraid of? So once we obviously proven that yes, we can actually comprehend the same shit that you can comprehend, and in certain cases more, because we've had to go through more in some instances. So this holds no water. This person is just a highbrowed racist.
And last but not least, this line here: an increase in the proportion of unskilled workers in the American labor market.
Really?
White man, your white brothers, your billionaires who own the corporations, who own the supermarkets, who own the fast food restaurants, who own the factories, all they do is hire immigrant unskilled labor
Exactly.
to make sure they stay billionaires.
Yeah.
So they can then grease your fucking slimy pockets so you can make up bullshit rhetoric like this to try to get rid of colored people.
Yeah, I mean, what the fuck is this? Like you said, all unskilled labor. Who stacks those assembly lines is the stuff that frozen chicken in the Tyson bag.
Oh, who it is a poor white man.
Yeah, a poor white
who is looking over his shoulder at some Latino who's going to be paid half of what he's getting paid.
Yeah, exactly.
And then he's going to go home and fucking punch his wife in the fucking eye because he lost his job, and he's going to start talking to her about these spics and all of these wetbacks and all these motherfuckers who are ruining America. When it's your white rich brother that's fucking you over.
Because they just want to save a buck. And the whole thing is, if you can get somebody to do the same job it reminds me of in real estate back in, I think it was like 2008. There was 2 collapses that I remember. One in Bushwick, and another guy had fallen to his death on that new building. I believe it was on Vanderbilt between Fulton and Atlantic. And the other fucking building, and it was on Lafayette, right there by Broadway. The fucking foundation, they just let it. They didn't even let the foundation set, and it collapsed on 3 Mexicans. So the motherfucker's hand is coming up out the fucking rubble and shit. He's dead as fuck. And they were like, "Yo, you wouldn't do that to anybody else." The reason they enlisted these people was because these people were sending the money back home. They were broke, so they would work in these conditions. The other guy, he was up on a scaffolding. The city was like, no, it was an extremely windy day. They was like, no one should go up there. But the billionaire developer, whatever, that bought that building was like, no, Jefe will go up there. And he went up there.
No, actually, Jefe is boss.
Well, excuse me, not Jefe, fucking Jose. And he fell to his fucking death. Literally,
Probably Jose.
2 people saw that shit that I know, and they were like, oh my God, they were traumatized. The guy, they said his coat went one way, he flew the other way and dropped dead. And they were like, well, why would you put this person up there? You would not have any regular union dude do that.
No,
because.
they wouldn't have a white native.
Exactly. So because they knew they can have this cheap labor. So all of this shit that this guy is saying, it doesn't. He needs to really talk to. If he really wants this to, to be enacted, he needs to talk to them and tell them, okay, only hire a certain level of people or whatever. If he wants to try and stop this, but as long as these rich people want to maintain their
profit margin,
their profit margin, they're going to keep hiring immigrant laborers. They're going to keep doing it. I mean, so this is such a crock of double snake-tongued bullshit that I can't even comprehend how this person wasn't shot immediately after saying this.
You know what my position always is, and I don't apologize for
the
it.
Sledgehammer to the spine.
Listen,
yeah, no.
Jose, Chico, all of you boys.
Cut this motherfucker
His
right.
name
Put a bandana on and cut him up right.
His name is Jason Richwine. Pull your pesos together.
Pesos?
Get somebody. Huh? Who said that?
You're a racist.
Get somebody who can look him up on the internet, find out where he is, and show him how ignorant and stupid you can be.
No, show him how you put in work. That's what you did.
Exactly.
Show him how you put
Real
in work.
simple.
Because
as I always say, talk, that's not going to scare rich people. Picket signs, that's not going to scare rich people. None of that shit, because last resort, we just call the cops and have you fucking hosed or fucking eaten by police dogs or whatever.
We saw that shit in the sit-in movements in Wall Street when the people was, all them
exactly.
Occupy Wall Street. They were walking over these stinking funky motherfuckers who was out there for weeks and weeks protesting, and they was like eating crazy lunches, just chilling, looking at the people out in the rain. That didn't all it did was make them detour to where it took them an additional 5 minutes to get to their 5-star super expensive lunch. It didn't do anything. Now, if they threw a fucking Molotov cocktail through the window and incinerated those motherfuckers, then there would have been some change. But 'cause a person like this is a dangerous person, and the fact that you a lot of time people want to say, okay, there's those crazy hillbilly militant militia motherfuckers, sleeping with their cousins and with mad guns and stuff like that. A person like this is way more dangerous,
Absolutely,
than people like that.
which is why you need to get that 20 pounds of steel on the end of that 4-foot stick and take it to the
Sledgehammer.
L4
Some
and the
Triple H
L5.
shit, right?
Listen,
Come in the ring with a sledgehammer.
I'm just trying to provide solutions to problems.
I mean, this is ridiculous. I mean, after receiving his doctorate in public policy from Harvard University, this is the kind of ignorant and filth that comes out of people's mouths in 2013. That's why whenever anyone says, oh, well, I have conversations with people like, oh, well, racism is not the way it used to be. Man, shut the fuck up.
No, it's not the way it used to be.
Just because it's just because they can't just take you and lynch you right out the gate. Yeah. It doesn't mean that racism. It just changed its form. It's still here. Ignorant people like this still exist and are in positions of power. So fuck this guy.
Sledgehammer. And on that happy note, that is our show, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us. I am Ken, Skillet Sauce 8. Once again, you can check us out on Facebook, Insanity Check. Tweet us at Twitter, Insanity Check 12. Watch this show and all the references that Skillet has provided for us once again on our YouTube channel, Insanity Check Radio. And join us. Become part of our circle on Google Plus page, Insanity Check. We'll be back next week. Thanks for showing up.
Take care.